Welcome to Financial Issues, where we join reality with truth, helping you make the most of your money by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
Good morning. Welcome to Financial Issues. We're so glad that you joined us today. Financial Issues is a ministry that helps to educate people about financial issues from a biblical worldview. We are a listener and partner-supported ministry, and we're happy to report that we just started our new fiscal year, and you guys have once again been faithful in supporting the ministry. Seth, you want to give them an update on the results of the campaign?
I'd be glad to, Shana. Yeah, so we actually, we gave an update yesterday, folks, but we got some delayed gifts in yesterday. So today is the official end of the campaign, Shana. And as of today, we got over $137,000 raised and 23 new monthly soldiers. We are just praising the Lord for that. That is awesome. And,
Amen.
A good portion of those gifts, Shana, came at the 11th hour, which tends to happen with our audience, I think. And we're just so grateful. So thank you all so much. What a joy.
It's been my experience that's how God always works.
Yeah, that's true. Working in line with how God does it in Scripture.
Right. But the Scripture tells us that He is never slow. That is just our perception.
That's right. Amen. That's awesome. Thank you all so much. It's great stuff.
Yeah, we really appreciate you supporting the ministry. This is going to help us to get the message out about defunding darkness, how we can honor God in the way that we invest, and to encourage you all to continue to fund the light, not only with this ministry, but more importantly with your local church and with the ministry that God calls you to support. Our stewardship verse today comes from Psalm 42:11. Why are you downcast, O my soul? Why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise Him, my salvation and my God. Well, all we have to do is turn on the news or hop on social media, and we'll see reason after valid reason for our souls to be in turmoil if we didn't have the hope that we have in Christ Jesus. We see the destruction from Hurricane Helene. We see October 7 footage that keeps replaying. We continue to hear that there's still almost 100 hostages still in captivity. We hear about fentanyl pouring over our southern border, the deaths that it's causing, the human trafficking that's coming in, the horrific things that are happening to children, the criminals that are pouring in over our southern border. We hear about the globalist and the Great Reset agenda, all while evil people seem to continue to prosper. The evil people that are pulling all the strings and seem to be having a darn good time doing it, attending those Diddy parties and vacations and to Epstein Island and all of the other horrible things that we hear about. So I came across a series of videos this weekend about the likely sequence of events if nukes were launched from Russia. It was very dark and very disturbing. And to look over and see the look on my daughter's face as she was listening to this, as adults, we were kind of desensitized about the whole thing. But, to see her face was quite disturbing. If we listen to the financial news, we hear that the markets could be brought lower by the port strike led by workers who some make six figures and want a 77% raise. The psalmist didn't even have social media when he wrote this. He didn't even need social media to see the pain, angst, and despair of the entire world when he was writing this. He only knew about what's happening in his corner of the world. But that was enough to put him on the brink of depression. And sometimes I can totally relate to what the psalmist is expressing. But what's the answer, Seth?
It's a thankful answer, Shana, and we're grateful for it. I feel that same way, too. So the answer here is oftentimes we see in the Psalms that the psalmist actually worships the Lord by speaking to his soul. And so speaking to ourselves, it's not that we're kind of doing like this, I'm just going to talk to myself all day, but it's actually really preaching the gospel to ourselves and reminding ourselves of the truth of God. So it's a good habit for us to get into, especially, Shannon, when we think about our finances, and even more, as you mentioned, when we think about everything going on today, we have to remember that God is the one who is in control. And so we also must ask our own souls, why are you in turmoil within me? We should instead hope in God, for He is our salvation. And that's good news, especially in chaos, Shanna. So kind of related to this, Shana, is sort of a question of the day, just a September recap. So we saw some volatility this month on full display. What do we make of all of this, and including what we just saw in the last couple days, as you had mentioned, with that strike and different things like that? What do we make of all the chaos that we saw this past month?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'd even really call the last month chaos. We had a couple of rough days, but from a historical perspective, the volatility in September was pretty muted compared to even just August of this year, or if you look back in 2022, 2020, of course, and certainly in 2008. The VIX, VIX, is somewhat of a measure of volatility in the market. The long-term average has been like in the lower 20s. And really in September, we didn't see the VIX get much above 20. So that is a little bit unusual, especially for what we see happening in the world right now. But I think that there's some other reasons, some of which I've been talking a lot about in the weekly commentary for our partners. And if you're a partner, we did get that posted yesterday, so you should check it out.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And then, Shana, what else should we be aware of as investors based off of things that have happened in the markets and the economy over the past month? So, not just thinking generally, but specifically as investors, what do we need to know?
Yeah. So the Fed, the apolitical Fed, is political. I think we're going to see that. I think we're definitely going to see that. The Fed did increase rates ahead of the election, as I predicted. Maybe it's because of the data, maybe it's not. But the data is in question. You know that if you listen to this show for any length of time. But we also have to know prices are not going to go back down. Even in the debates last night, we heard about how inflation is in control, and if inflation is down. Inflation is not down. Prices are not down. The rate that prices are increasing has slowed down. It's not 9% anymore. It's it's in the 2 to 3% range, depending on which metric you're looking at. The job market is weakening, and small businesses are hurting and are dying. Bankruptcies are on the rise. You'll see some more details if you read the commentary from this week on the partner side of the website. The labor market is struggling, at least the private sector and small business part of the labor market. ADP reported just this morning that private businesses in the U.S. added 143,000 workers to their payrolls. That was the most in 3 months. ADP reports non-farm payrolls in the private sector for about 25 million employees. They have real-time, real payroll data to look at, different than the number that we're going to get out on Friday, which has a lot of speculation in it. The increase was marginally larger than expected, but the comments from Neela Richardson, the chief economist of ADP, were concerning. This is what she said. Stronger hiring didn't require stronger pay growth last month. So people who stayed in their jobs saw an average annual increase of 4.7%. Job changers only saw 6.6%. Now, we saw this number get up to double digits, 15%, mid double digits. During COVID, when employers were trying to woo back their employees, or woo them either off the sidelines collecting COVID unemployment or from other companies. The differential between stayers and changers shrunk drastically. So typically workers who change jobs see faster pay growth, but their premium over job stayers shrank to 1.9%, matching the low we saw in January. That was the rest of the quote from Neela Richardson. So she said this, well, she didn't say this, I'm saying this. This will be a problem if inflation continues while wage growth stalls. The gap between large and small businesses widened further. Small businesses with 1 to 49 employees, which is the backbone of the U.S. economy, fell 8,000 following a small downward revision to August, which is now, the August number, negative 12,000. The annualized growth rate for small business is down to 0.06. It's barely breathing. Large businesses is growing at 3.23%. Larger businesses not having as much of a trouble attracting employees. But don't worry, the government still continues to hire. As we saw in the JOLTS number, there were around 800,000 open jobs in August. That was down from 12.2 in March of 2022. 20% of our jobs in the last year, 1 out of every 5 jobs created in the last year was created by government. That's why they think Bidenomics is working. They think it's the government's job to make jobs for people, but that is growing the government is not a good solution for fixing inflation and having a good environment for businesses to thrive. Well, we've got more to talk about. Maybe we can pick that up when we come back from our break, but we do have to go to break right now. I'm your host, Shana Burt. Stay tuned. We've got more financial issues to come, and our phone lines are open.
If you don't get life right, you're not going to get all the other issues correct, period. It is the issue that impacts every other issue. Life is the central part of what keeps this republic together. It is the contract that the founding fathers passed down through multiple generations. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You don't have life, you don't have a republic. There is a temptation out there right now. And I want to just tell you we must resist it. There's this temptation that we cast this issue aside. How does that honor God? It doesn't. And if it wasn't for preborn, I would be super just confused and depressed, because there has never been, in my opinion, a more disjointed time in the pro-life movement. We need a machine to go up against the Planned Parenthood beast. Like, we have to play offense against the pro-abortion forces in this country, okay? We have to play offense. And preborn does it in this compassionate, merciful, godly way that is just so inspiring and amazing.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Welcome back to Financial Issues, folks. Shana, thank you for that information in the first segment. I got a follow-up question for you, if you don't mind. What are some things we should be on the lookout for specifically as the 2024 election looms? So kind of this month is kind of that last month before we really get to see some of that. What should we look out for?
Well, volatility always, and I would say that, if you can't handle the volatility in the market, it's probably not something that you need to be involved with, because there's always going to be volatility. I mean, there's always ups and downs in the market. We try to minimize risk as much as we can by doing our research and using diversification and asset allocation, all of those things. But, that's always going to be there. We've got the signs of the times. If we read our Bible, nothing that's happening is really a surprise. Maybe how it happens is a little bit of a surprise, but it shouldn't be a surprise to us, that these things are going to happen. I think one of the things that I'm watching the most closely right now is what's happening with this port strike. We've got nearly 50,000 dock workers across 36. I don't even know if that's the current number. 36 ports. From Maine all the way to Texas. I think I saw that the Port of Houston, which is right in my neighborhood, is closed now as well. And, the Longshoremen's Association is demanding higher wages and protection against automation. They want to stay in the dark ages, so they don't want to use the technology. Of course, they want job security there. The unions claim that the employers are refusing to address a half century of wage subjugation. That was a quote from one of the members there. But how long have these unions been accepting these unfair contracts for their union members? So, it almost felt a little bit, and this is just a gut feeling that I have, like this is somewhat of a setup or a show, because how great would that be if we're on the brink of disaster? We're hearing that Christmas could be ruined, holiday sales prices could be higher, we could not have inventory for the holidays. So what better opportunity for Kamala Harris to come in and save Christmas right before the inflation right before the holiday season, or right before the election. So the highest paid port workers, like some of the dock workers, earn more than $116,000 a year. It varies across the country. I think I read the average salary is $50,000, which is about what teachers make on average across the country. Yep. I've heard that some of the crane operators make close to over $500,000 a year. And, they want to stop this automation so that they have job security. Well, haven't they heard that there's at least 10 to 30 million illegals in this country who would probably do their jobs for a fraction of what they're making? That's a little bit scary.
Yeah, it absolutely is, Shana. We've seen, as you said, Christmas could be impacted. We were talking about this on the show on Monday. Sam and I were bananas, coffee. It's a bunch of stuff, So almost 50% of containerized goods entering the U.S. processed through these ports. And it really is, like you said, Maine to Houston. It's the entire eastern seaboard, most of the Gulf. Biden has vowed to stop the strike, as you said, despite having the authority to block strikes with national security implications. Very interesting, Shana, that this is happening a month before the election.
Yeah, I mean, Biden has said he's not getting involved yet unless there's something new out that I haven't heard, which, he tends to side with the labor unions. And, I would imagine Kamala Harris does too, saying that, the workers need to get their fair share. Yep. But, I can't help but wonder if Joe Biden has some hard feelings about the Kamala-led coup to to become the Democratic nominee for president. So I wonder if that's playing into some of his reluctance to get involved, or maybe he just doesn't care, or maybe he just doesn't even really know what's going on.
He might not even know what's going on. And you know what I should mention? I think I accidentally said he's vowed to stop the strike.
Right.
Did not stop the strike. I misspoke there. Yeah, that's exactly right. He's probably at the beach right now, so I don't know if he even knows what's going on. But anyway.
Yeah, I doubt he it's affecting anything in his ivory tower. Yeah. But that's certainly a possibility. Yeah. That he could be a little bit irritated at what happened.
For sure. Oh, absolutely.
And then there's the poor people recovering from Hurricane Helene. A lot of the things that they may need may be sitting on container ships out in those ports. Yeah. And, it's just a shame to me that there's not been more focus on helping Americans as there is in sending money overseas. With Hurricane Helene, I'm sure that you guys have mentioned it on the show too, but, there's more than 100 people dead. Yep. There's estimates that there'll be a lot more reported, maybe even as many as 600, because there's still people that are missing. The one report that I read said that about 40 trillion gallons of rain soaked the Southeast last week. They said that's enough to fill the Dallas Cowboys Stadium 51,000 times. And, we're looking at damage 15 billion to 26 billion potentially. So, I would say that what I would say to Financial Issues listeners is, hey, here's a great opportunity to fund the light, to find an organization that is helping there, because I don't know that those people can really expect much help from the government. And this port strike is potentially a problem for them.
Absolutely. Shannon, it got me thinking as you were talking about that. It's And I don't want to believe that this is the case, but I can't help but think that the current administration right now is looking at rural Appalachia and thinking it's not convenient to help those people right now. It doesn't fit our political narrative. And also, who knows, maybe they're thinking there's a lot of conservatives in that area right now, so we'll just conveniently ignore them and we'll focus on the port strikes and we'll focus on the war in the Middle East and the war in Ukraine. Maybe I'm a cynic here, but I just can't help but thinking that's the world that we live in now, where our political leaders are that evil that they would just completely bypass people who are actually in need in their own country and focusing instead on places far, far away. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, we're all entitled to our own opinion,
You're
and
right.
it, most of the time it's the left that labels everything that the right thinks is conspiracy. But, I've been through hurricane situations and, flooding situations and things like that. And I can tell you that, unfortunately, for those people, getting to the ballot box is probably going to be low on their priority list.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Good grief. Well, Shana, one more question for you. How do you expect the markets to behave as we approach this double whammy? We have 1 week, first week in November, we'll have the election and then the next Fed meeting. What do you expect there?
Well, I think that it'll be interesting to see how the Fed behaves and how under the influence of politics they are. We'll know based on what they do about rates after the election. I mean, they've kind of already telegraphed that we can fairly reasonably expect about 50 basis points of rate cuts before the end of the year. So if Trump wins and they back off of that and they don't deliver those rates, that's probably going to be a telltale sign, because Trump has made no secret of how he feels about Jay Powell. If Trump wins, Powell will probably hear those famous Trump words, "You're fired." And if Kamala wins, I would think that Powell's job is probably pretty secure, unless, of course, Elizabeth Warren gets in Kamala Harris's ear. She's no fan of Powell, for sure. But, more importantly, for the short term than the election or even the Fed, because the Fed will likely deliver what the market expects, or at least continue on the path of cuts, is earnings. Earnings season is going to begin in short order here in just a couple of weeks. And I'm a little bit worried about it. Maybe not necessarily the earnings results for the third quarter, but it's that forward guidance. I think that companies are facing a lot of challenges. And if we see a Kamala Harris presidency, higher taxes for them, that's going to be even more of a drag on their bottom line. And inflation, the potential for inflation to increase if we have this port strike go on for an extended period of time. I mean, do you remember what happened? I mean, that was part of the reason for inflation going so high, was the supply chain issues, not being able to get the supplies that we need, while at the same time the government flooded the economy with COVID stimulus. So hopefully we won't have the stimulus part of it, flooding in. But, if we see a decrease in the supply of goods, that's going to be a problem for inflation.
Thank you for that, Shana. Lots to talk about, boy. Yeah. Shana, we got an interesting question here. I don't know if you wanted to take a look at this one quickly here. Brandon,
we can try.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathan in Brandon, Mississippi was just asking, why can't the companies that are affected by this port strike, why can't they fire the port workers and just hire new ones? Are they not allowed to do this?
Well, it's union. I mean, so, they have contracts with the companies. The contract is expiring.
Yeah.
I guess they have the option to do that right now, but, I think that they'll probably try to work out a deal with the structure that they have in place right now.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a bummer, but these union workers have a lot of power in this situation. They got a lot of sway here. So very interesting.
Yeah. With one of the bosses threatening to cripple us.
That's right.
That's very American.
That's exactly right. But when you're talking about the entire eastern seaboard, these are all the major port cities, New York, Philadelphia, as you mentioned, all the way down to Houston. I mean, what else can you do but negotiate with them?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how those container ships pile up out there in the ports.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I see we have a caller in the queue. The phone lines are open. We'll get to Lynn whenever we come back, but we're coming up on a break here. We're going to get to more of your questions. We have sort of a backlog of questions coming in from the website, so we'll be able to get to some of that. You can be the next caller in the queue, 610-363-1110. Are we giving anything away today?
Yeah, we are, Shana. We have a couple. So I got a kind of a plethora of FISM shirts here. Next caller after Lynn will get an FISM blue T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, your choice, Sons of Issachar. We might have some more T-shirts as well, but I want to just kind of open up the treasure trove, as it were, to our callers. So, yep.
Sounds great. Well, folks, stay tuned. If you listen on an outlet that only carries a short version of the show, we have to wish you a farewell today. But we hope that you have the phone app so that you can stream the program whenever it's convenient for you, and you can get the whole hour-long program. For the rest of you, stay tuned. We'll be back with more financial issues.
If you don't.
It's easy to get caught up in the rush and forget about what really matters. Too often, we invest in stocks without knowing what they stand for. When your investments align with your values, your money speaks for you. Because biblical values matter, even when investing. Learn how to invest biblically and responsibly. Visit financialissues.org to learn more. That's financialissues.org.
Through the ministry of Preborn, the Financial Issues family has saved tens of thousands of lives of babies. What an amazing job that God has done through you, the Financial Issues family. Would you join us in saving the lives of babies? What an amazing reunion we will have in glory, meeting all the people that we have saved. Please go to preborn.org, that is preborn.org, or financialissues.org, and click on the Preborn banner.
So I'm trying to plan ahead, and I thought investing would be a good idea. I was going to buy some stock from Back4 Tech Inc.
Yeah, they're actually under investigation for supplying technology that helps human traffickers.
Oh, what about microdrafts?
They support the gambling industry.
U.S. cardboard company, people always need cardboard.
Abortion lobbyists.
How do you know all this?
I just go by the stock list from Financial Issues.
Feel confident and rest assured that your money is not supporting the things that grieve the heart of God. For more information, go to financialissues.org to find out how you can be biblically responsible with your investments. Go to financialissues.org today. Grow your money God's way.
I'm John.
I'm Debbie, and we're Samaritan members.
We have 8 children, ages from 30 down to 15, and we have a ministry called Family Man Ministries.
When he left the pastorate to start the ministry, we had no income for about a year potentially, and so we were living on almost nothing. The cost of healthcare seemed impossible because we had a big family. And so when I started researching ministries, there was no comparison. It was just the best deal. And so a year after we joined, my 10-year-old daughter at the time got pneumonia, and it was scary. Someone sent a card just to Maggie, and it said, not just that we're praying for you, but that God will always take care of you, and here's $5 for you to go out and get ice cream. It was just really special.
To make that connection, that's an amazing thing. I was sold on Samaritan Ministries. I just thought, okay, I'm a part of this.
Securities offered through G.A. Reppel & Company, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member FINRA and SIPC. Opinions expressed by Shana are hers alone and are for informational purposes only, and do not necessarily represent those of G.A. Reppel or the outlet on which you are listening. You should consider how the information applies to your situation prior to personally implementing it, and consult any financial professional you work with to make sure it's applicable to your financial plan.
Welcome back to Financial Issues. Our phone lines are open, 610-363-1110. Let's get to the phones. We've got Lynn calling from Oregon. Hi, Lynn. You're on Financial Issues.
Hi, good morning. I called last week just to get a little information about preferreds, just an explanation. And as I understand correctly, they are stocks. There is a likelihood, or a possibility, I should say, that they could go down, but they, if I have it correctly, they seem to be more stable. And typically, what you buy them for is more likely to be what you can sell them for. I'm looking at the ones that are on your buy list. There are about 5 of them, and I'm not sure how to select which one. They do vary a little bit, in their return. So you would think, well, typically I would just want to go for the highest return. But I'm wondering if there isn't more to consider when I know what to buy, or if I have a set amount of money, should I spread it out over various ones? Also looking at my stock allocation to see what I'm more short in.
Yeah, so preferreds, we've grouped that in with fixed income now. So I would suggest picking, 3 or maybe 4 different preferreds, just depending on how large your portfolio is. You don't want to get too concentrated in any one preferred. I would suggest going through the buy list and reading all of the descriptions, checking to see if you have, now there's maybe one that we've had the common stock on the list before or do at this time. I wouldn't overly concentrate. If you added up the preferred and the common stock together, I wouldn't overly concentrate there. But I would just go through and read the descriptions of the different industries, try to diversify. I don't know if you already have some preferreds and you're looking to add to them, but, we have some diverse preferreds there in different sectors. So that gives you the ability to pick and choose.
So how do I know which one is going to be more stable? And because basically what I'm trying to get is the interest return. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to give that up and lose money on the stock itself. Do you group it into income because it is so stable?
Yeah, so one thing that I would do is go through each one and just go look at the price chart and go back for as long as it's been in existence. For example, I'm looking at one of them right now, and there was a time, you can look back and see how it performed in 2020, and, you can see that the par value was $25. It dropped as low as $14, but it was only for a short period of time. For the most part, the range is somewhere between, $20 and $27, and with the par being $25. So I would go through each one of those, and if you're looking for something that doesn't or that hasn't varied a lot in price, you can look at the historical price charts. Now, again, you need to know that past performance doesn't guarantee future results. So, but the reason that you would buy a preferred is for that income, and you wouldn't really be focused much on the stock price.
Okay. Can I sell these anytime I want?
You can sell them on the open market for whatever the going price is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So look historically, and if it's been pretty stable, it's more likelihood that it's going to be stable.
I mean, there's no guarantee. That's the major disclaimer that we have to give in the financial services industry, is that past performance is no guarantee of future results. But, you can see, what was going on in 2020. So you can see, you can see dips, you can see how the prices varied, and, you can relate that to what was going on in the economy at the time. So if we experience other things like that, it could potentially behave in the same way.
Okay, and the company does not charge to buy and sell. If my brokerage does not charge, then the company doesn't either. It's like a stock in that way. Is that correct?
The company that issued the preferred?
Yes.
Yeah, no, none of these are new issues, so you're buying all of these on the secondary market. The company doesn't get any of the money. You're buying it from somebody else.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for calling. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to John. Hi, John. You're live on Financial Issues.
Hello, Shana.
Hello.
Thanks for your program and your ministry. It's been hugely beneficial to me. I appreciate you guys a whole bunch.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John. Hey, John, are you a CSN listener, brother?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Thanks for finding us, man. Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had this question on my mind before in the past as to how to deal with capital gains and dividends. And with my custodial account, I can choose to, actually the default for most everything is that those funds from each of the holdings go into the core account, which is cash. And I should clarify that the account that I'm mostly interested in on this question has to do with my IRA. And so should those funds be designated back into repurchasing of those holdings rather than going to cash?
I don't think so. I like that they go into cash, the dividends and the capital gains, because in an IRA, the taxes are postponed till some point in the future anyway. If you had these in a taxable account, they would be taxable whether they went into cash, you spent them, or they went back into the company. So I like to be in control of the redeployment of that return. So when you get dividends or capital gains back, I think it's better that you get to make the decision on where to deploy that money. You might be overweighted. Maybe it's a technology stock that's paying you a dividend and you're already overweighted in technology. Well, having that dividend go back into that same stock is just going to put you more and more overweighted in that category. So you get a chance to really redeploy that capital where you see that it needs to go.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I need to refresh myself on so many things all the time.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. You guys have a blessed day.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
You as well.
You too, brother.
All right. I think we have the ag report coming up. I don't think we have time to get to that next call until the next segment, so we'll hold over. You want to tell them about Bible study this week, Seth?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Shana. Yeah, so folks will be in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 10 through 13 this week. So oftentimes, Paul does this in his letter with Timothy, where he'll just remind Timothy, hey, it's not a bad thing to get persecuted. Obviously no one likes persecution. You don't want to pray for it. We would hope that it wouldn't happen. But if it happens to you, just remember that it's happening because you belong to Christ. So Paul reminds Timothy of this from time to time. He's going to do this in this passage as well. He kind of brings Timothy back to exploring Paul's own persecution that he experienced across various cities in the Roman Empire. So it's going to be a good one this week, folks. Hope you'll join us at 6:30 on Friday. It'll be fun.
Sounds good. Yeah. And you can go to the website and click on the resources tab, Bible study, and that's how you get there. Well, here comes Craig. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back.
This is Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Egg update for October 2nd. Well, a better export outlook for U.S. corn and speculators liquidating their short positions drove market action on Tuesday. Now, the U.S. Longshoremen Union also went on strike yesterday. The union wants a 77% raise, and the union's president vows to cripple the economy to get what they're asking for. Now, the union is generally uninvolved in bulk grain shipments, was very involved with fertilizer and other ag inputs. So this could become a story if this strike drags on. At the close, December corn was 4.25 cents higher at $4.29 per bushel. Soybeans benefited from nearby tightness in the soybean meal market, tensions in the Middle East, and higher crude oil prices. On the flip side, concerns about falling soybean oil demand as a result of some unresolved biofuel policies from the Biden-Harris administration weighed on prices. As a result, we're basically unchanged, with November beans 1/4 cent higher at $10.57 Middle East conflict always attracts wheat buying, and yesterday's market was a prime example. We had Iran launching a ballistic missile attack against Israel after Israel killed the leader of Hezbollah in an airstrike south of Beirut. Now, Russia's dryness also remains a story, but the effect is being tempered by normal planting progress so far. As a result of all the uncertainty and the buying that we saw enter the market, Minneapolis December wheat was 13 cents higher at $6.34 $4.75. Kansas City was 14.5 cents better at $5.98 and Chicago rose by 15 cents to close at $5.99. Cotton futures continue to be range bound. The closing bell December was down 52 points at 73.09. Livestock futures were mixed. We had December live cattle 37.5 cents higher at $185, 17.5 cents per hundredweight. November feeder cattle were 22.5 cents lower, $244, 67.5 cents per hundred. And December lean hogs were $1.32.5 cents higher at $74.60. Class 3 milk futures were unable to follow through on Monday's higher close. We ended the day with October down 21 points at 23.10. This has been Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Egg Update. We'll be right back with more financial issues after this.
Gain valuable insights from partners sharing about financial issues.
We work so hard, all of us do, to get this money, and I knew nothing about how to use it appropriately, biblically. And the strategy is so simple. You guys are on the front line of the battle.
My wife and I have been partners with you for several years, and we have benefited greatly from your advice and your ministry.
I do nothing without following FISM's advice on stocks, and especially since it's coming from a spiritual foundation.
You are amazing. Nobody is doing what you are doing for the body of Christ.
I just wanted to call and thank you for the advice that you gave me a little over a year ago. It has panned out very well.
I never dreamed I'd be able to give money like this.
Become a partner today by simply going to financialissues.org/join. Click the green button to become a partner today.
There are moments in life that define us. Choices determine the courses we take. Choices that create life, or those that save a life. And some make life worthwhile. There are decisions to stay or to go, to remain the same or to grow. Sometimes we pray and make peace. Other times we take a stand for what we believe. In celebration, mourning, triumph, and defeat, we are invested in every decision we seek. Despite differences, we have one thing in common: the desire to do all for the glory of God. Keep your wallet aligned with your heart and your investments in harmony with your faith. Timothy Plan, biblically responsible mutual funds, ETFs, and retirement plans. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at timothyplan.com. Read carefully before investing.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Welcome back to Financial Issues. Thanks for tuning in today. We do have a call that we want to get to. Let's go to Cecilia in Florida. Hi, Cecilia. You're live on Financial Issues.
Thank you for taking my call, Shana. I am trying to, I'm a partner income investor. I'm trying to work up my cash and fixed income to the levels that we've been talking about. I own UGI, and I'm wondering if it pays a good dividend. Should I hold it or sell it to get?
Yeah, it is a hold.
It's a hold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, that was it for now. Thank you very much.
That was a great Rapid Fire Friday question.
Nice. Good to hear from you, Cecilia.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. I know. That's
Thanks, Cecilia.
Readdress my portfolio. Thanks, Shana, for taking my call.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for calling.
God bless. Shana, that's just where we spell rapid with a silent W. It becomes Rapid Fire Wednesday. This is perfect.
Okay, got it.
That's good. Hey, Shana, we had a question that came in from Kevin in Ohio asking about the Timothy Plan. You want to get to this one?
Sure.
So he's saying, are you still comfortable recommending Timothy Plan when they still hold companies like AMD, Chipotle, Tesla, Deckers, even though you've said these companies aren't biblically responsible? Chipotle, even in the top 10 holdings for some of their mutual funds. What advice do you have for Kevin, Shana?
I don't think I've ever specifically mentioned some of those. Some of those maybe I have. We've had some sell alerts on some of them. We primarily use the Timothy plans the evaluator, which is their screening tool. The Timothy Partners has a separate company that they set up for evaluator, where all that company does is research all day long. They have thoroughly thought out their screening process. There will be times occasionally where we might differ in some of our opinions about biblically responsible. It doesn't happen very often at all, but Timothy has a very well thought out process. They have a process in place where the company really has to be actively promoting an agenda. And so they have a threshold where 5 activities in a 12-month period will constitute a violation. So on some of these, they do have Chipotle already has 4 of the 5 strikes against them that they need to fail a screen. So do some of the other ones. And I can assure you that and they have a compliance process, a legal process, because there's even some companies that are under scrutiny right now by the SEC for the way that they screen. So you have to have a very well articulated screening process in place, or you can sort of get in trouble with the powers that be in the financial industry. And, Timothy Partners does have that. They have legal opinions that they get written up. They go through a compliance process before they're cleared. And once they are cleared and they are showing up dirty, there is no bit of wavering with the Timothy plan to get rid of those companies. So it's just a matter of them filling out their process. Now, Tesla is one that Timothy does consider clean. There's another screening tool that shows that it's dirty because it says that it's one of the employee benefits that it offers allows their employees to travel across state lines to get abortion. I've been really on the fence about this one because even the violation that they show, this other company that shows that makes Tesla dirty, was from 2021. It was a corporate policy that Tesla had in place that allowed up to $4,000 for their employees to be able to travel to get the care that they needed. So at this time, Roe v. Wade wasn't even overturned yet. So this benefit was really intended for people to be able to go to a different state if there was a better cancer doctor or a better, for whatever condition that they had, if they thought they could get better care. So it's not really Tesla's fault if the employees are now using that to pay for abortions. So it's a little bit of a gray area. Tesla's never shown up on our buy list for some of these reasons, but I can assure you that the Timothy plan is 100% committed to biblically responsible investing. They were the pioneers in the industry. So my answer is yes, we still feel 100% confident in the Timothy plan and the intent. So, there's lots of things happening. There's ways to find out what companies are doing with shareholder money, which is really kind of the litmus test for us. If they raise a pride flag or they, that doesn't really cost them any money to do that. That's not really, it's making a public statement, and I wish they would just stay out of it altogether. They'd probably do much better from a marketing standpoint if they just stayed out of it altogether. But there are a lot of intricacies in the biblically responsible screening space, and I believe, again, it's the intent of the heart. The intent of the heart of Timothy plan of this ministry is to honor God in the way that we do everything, and part of that is screening. Screening is a bit complicated, but we do the very best that we can with the information that's available.
Good stuff, Shana. Thank you for that. Over on Ask Shana, we've got a question from John. He's 76 years old. He's got 2 accounts, a Roth and a 401k. Needs to invest about $100,000 in each account. He'd like to have some advice in purchasing investment stocks or mutual funds for income long term. He's invested in one particular company through profit sharing, and he appreciates our help. What help would you have for John, Shana?
Well, I would just say take a look at the buy list. If you're a partner, The most valuable tool that you have is going to be the portfolio tracker. So you're going to get those positions that you already have in the tracker. When you go to that output page, it's going to show you a very straightforward bar graph. It's going to show you what your allocation is right next to the targeted allocation. So you're going to be able to see with a quick glance where you need to add money in, because diversification is very important. So once you see that, oh, well, maybe I need something, those are that's an industrial and a utility stock that you mentioned there that are on our buy list, and they're fine. You just don't want to be overweighted in them. But, maybe you need a materials company. We have some materials company that maybe not on the list right now, but there are materials company that can offer good income. The financial sector, the preferreds, the REITs, those are some very good income. There's some very good income stocks on the buy list right now. So I would start by looking in those categories.
Yeah. Very good. Next one up is Jack, 70 years old. He's got almost 50% of investable assets in CD or money markets right now, and he wants to roll at least $30,000 back into the market to keep up with inflation. He says, I'm also putting away another $7,000 per month as Social Security money not needed. I'm still working. What sectors would you see that show the most promise in the next 5 years or more? I have about $100,000 per month in dividends currently, and it'd be nice to double the dividends. We have no debt currently as well. What advice for Jack?
It's about $1,000 a month. I think you had couple extra zeros there.
Oh, did I say that? 100,000? How about 1,000 per month? Yeah, that would be great if it was 100.
No joke, huh? So what I would say with the money that you're putting in regularly, take a look at the most aggressive pieces of the portfolio. Yeah. If you're light in your ETFs or your funds, especially like the Israel fund or some of the small cap or international type stocks, I would use that $7,000 a month to truly dollar cost average into those positions. The other sectors, over the next 5 years, and again, if you're a partner and you read the commentary, especially the one that we just posted yesterday, you'll get kind of an idea of where some of our ideas are coming from for the buy list right now. Don't want to share that publicly on the air. That information is for partners. But, I would say technology, utilities, energy, all of those are very much related to the AI trend that is developing. I think the AI trend is going to be as big or bigger than the internet. If you all remember when that first became a thing, if you're younger, you may not, but some of us with some age on us do remember the days when there was no such thing as the internet.
What was that like, Shana?
All right, you're making me feel
I'm kidding.
So, all three of those sectors are going to be interrelated. AI is going to take an enormous amount of energy. So there's utility stocks that stand to benefit that, some of the ones that even the ones that we've had on our buy list have performed as good as or better than NVIDIA, if you can believe that. Wow. So, and then what's going to take, what it takes to power all that? Energy. So, and unfortunately, we don't have enough clean energy to power all of that. So there's going to be nuclear energy, or there's nothing on the buy list right now specifically toward that, but it is something that we're looking into. But good old fossil fuels are still, like it or not, are still going to fuel the future.
Yep. Good stuff. Not enough time to get to another one here, Shana. Always running out of time.
Wow, we're at the end. Well, folks, Lord willing, we're going to be back tomorrow to remind you that time's getting short, the Master is coming back, and we want to help you be found a good and faithful steward, reminding you that everything that we have belongs to the Lord. We want to honor Him in the way that we invest. So come back tomorrow for more financial issues. In the meantime, make sure you have our phone app so that you can get us, take us with you wherever you go and listen when it's convenient for you. Come back tomorrow. More financial issues on the way.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.